Hello, and welcome to another edition of Inventor's Quick Tips. In this episode, we will take a look at 3 tips to greatly increase your chances of getting a patent. It should be no surprise that patent applications cost money, typically on the order of thousands of dollars. So if you are going to go through that expense, you don't want to come up empty-handed, where at the end of it all, you have an abandoned patent application and no patent. For many patent applications, this is their story. Now, I must remind everyone, there is never a guarantee that you can get a patent, but if you put your best effort into it, you will improve your chances. So let's go through the 3 tips that, in my experience, can really help. Tip 1. Do a search. A good search can help you get a better sense of what is already out there, the prior art, and give you the opportunity to differentiate your invention from what you find. You can hire a service to do a search or do your own. I have a video on search techniques, and I will put a link to that video in the description. But at the very minimum, you can go to the U.S. Patent website or even Google Patents and do a basic keyword search for your invention, look at the top 20 results, and compare those results to your invention. Then you want to identify meaningful differences between your invention and what you found. What's meaningful? Well, something that makes a real difference. Let's illustrate with an example of what is not meaningful. Suppose your search turns up a device that is similar to yours. But wait, you spot a difference. They put their emergency stop button here, while you have your emergency stop button over here. Well, that is typically going to be considered not meaningful by the Patent Office. Or more precisely, if that is the only difference between your invention and the prior art reference, then the Patent Office would likely consider this change to be obvious. And just as a reminder, to get a patent, the claimed invention needs to be novel and non-obvious. So hopefully you find some meaningful differences and describe those differences in detail and add claims where applicable. If you can't find any meaningful differences, then it's a good time to evaluate if you should even proceed with filing this patent application, because why spend that money if you can't differentiate it from what you found in your search and you're likely to not get a patent to issue. Tip 2. Make it long enough. In college, I had a technical writing professor, and when he gave assignments, and all the students would ask, "How long does this assignment have to be?" he would respond, "As long as necessary." In general, that is good advice for technical writing. Technical writing generally needs to convey information in a clear and concise manner. We don't need character development and describing irrelevant details like you might find in fictional writing. However, the reality is, patent applications are examined by humans. And if a patent application is short, it may give them the preconceived notion that there is no invention there for a patent to be awarded on. So, for patents, I think there is a minimum length, and in my experience, this is it. 6,000 words and 6 figures, or drawings. And again, this is a guideline, especially with the figures. Sometimes, depending on the invention, there may not be any figures at all. But in general, for most inventions, in my experience, most any patent application should have at least 6,000 words and at least 6 figures. So if it comes down to submitting a very short application or a longer one, go with the longer one. Chances are, if your patent application does not reach these minimums, especially in the word count, then there is probably more you can say about your invention. Again, this is a guideline. You will see issued patents out there that have less than 6,000 words and less than 6 figures, but in today's practice, this seems to be a good minimum. It tells the examiner there may well be something here to issue a patent on. So tip 2 talked about length, but being long is not enough. Having even 15,000 words doesn't help us if it's all junk. So we want to take a look at the invention and identify meaningful alternative embodiments. What are meaningful alternative embodiments? Let's again explain by example. So let's say this contraption is our invention. It appears to be a toothpaste dispensing system. Of course, this is not a real invention, but rather a Rube Goldberg style joke. However, let's just go with it. This is the invention, and we don't have to go through the whole operation of it, but let's look at a few parts of it. We see here that there is a ball that travels down a series of ramps. I have seen many times in patent applications where, for describing things like these ramps, there will be something like, ramps can be made of wood, metal, including steel, iron, aluminum, alloys, plastics, including polycarbonate, bamboo, cardboard, vibranium, etc. Now that is good to have in the written description. There's usually no harm in listing different materials that could be used, but chances are it's not going to be something that will help much with the claims. In other words, if the patent office says that this basic contraption is not patentable, then having additional claims where these ramps are made out of bamboo or whatever is probably not going to make it patentable. So it is good to ask yourself the question, what improves the function of our machine beyond simply choosing different materials? Let's examine component I, which seems to be one of these pendulum toys you find on an executive's desk. It looks like below at point H, a ball is sent upward and hits the pendulum, causing it to make the dominoes fall at point J. So a more meaningful alternative embodiment might be replacing that pendulum with an electromechanical solenoid and an activation circuit, so that when the ball at H is ejected upwards, it hits the activation circuit, the green box, which then causes the solenoid to extend, starting the chain reaction of dominoes falling at J. So as compared to trying to claim differences in track material of plastic, metal, and bamboo, having this solenoid replace the pendulum may be a more meaningful difference that can help improve the chances of getting a patent to grant. Of course, remember these are contrived examples just to illustrate a comparison between a more meaningful difference and a less meaningful difference. So in summary, to improve your chances of getting a patent to issue, consider research before filing just to make sure you differentiate from as much prior art as you can find. The patent office will do their own search, and chances are they will find things you didn't find. But this is a good due diligence step to make sure your invention is differentiated from the existing things you know about. Make it long enough. Again, the guideline of 6,000 words and 6 figures minimum is a guideline. But if your patent application is less than that, then take a second look before filing. There is possibly more you can say about your invention. Try to identify meaningful alternative embodiments and include them in the description and claims. That increases the chances that at least one of your claims may be considered allowable, which means that you will likely be able to get a patent to issue from your patent application. So hopefully you found this video helpful. If so, please like, share, and subscribe, and thanks again for watching.